Why do we love to root for the bad guy? To find out, we must understand Sean Strickland.
He's like talking about killing himself, and I'm like,
oh God.
I'm like, dude, Dad, dude, you should do it, man. Like,
The Joker.
My mom died. Celebrating.
And the Antihero. An antihero is the main character in a story who lacks the conventional principles that we associate with a hero. Unlike the hero, who is portrayed as a model citizen who strictly adheres to black and white values of right and wrong, the anti-hero operates in the shades of gray. The line between good and bad, right and wrong, is often blurred for the anti-hero, but how did they become this way? Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung popularized the idea that there were multiple aspects of the self within each of us. First, our persona. Our persona is the mask we show the world. It's often molded by feedback we receive as kids. The positive traits we're complimented on, we try to show that side of ourselves to the world constantly. The negative traits we're criticized for, we suppress deep down in what becomes our shadow. More on that later. The persona is molded by the positive traits we were encouraged to keep exhibiting and the role models we look up to. It's who we think we need to be to fit into society. In The Joker, Arthur Fleck is the persona that the main character wears. His mother tells him that he's a good person who makes others laugh, and he takes pride in being a good person while taking on a job as a clown to entertain children. In Sean Strickland's life, he did not receive encouragement on his good traits as a kid. From his alcoholic, drug addict, abusive dad beating him, to his 7th grade teacher telling him prison was made for people like you, there was no part of him that was encouraged to shine and become his persona. Amid this darkness, his grandfather stood out to him as a comparatively better figure, and Sean modeled himself after him. Unfortunately for Sean, his grandpa was a neo-Nazi.
me being 12 years old walking around doing the fucking Hail Hitler salute with a fucking swastika on my arm.
This became Sean's persona, the neo-Nazi, but it was of course rejected by society, as was Arthur Fleck's. Arthur Fleck was a mentally ill social outcast who, no matter how hard he tried to be his kind persona that made people laugh, couldn't seem to fit in. A similar thing happened to Sean Strickland. His persona of the neo-Nazi didn't fit in either. And when the persona is rejected, the other, darker side of us grows. The shadow consists of everything inside of us that isn't accepted by society. The more rejected by society, or the more we suppress our shadow, the blacker and denser the shadow becomes. The anti-hero always has an extremely dark shadow, characterized by having one or more of the dark triad traits. The dark triad refers to 3 interconnected personality traits associated with socially undesirable behavior: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. In both Sean Strickland and the Joker, the dark triad trait most noticeable is psychopathy. Psychopaths are considered to have a severe form of antisocial personality disorder.
I think the clinical term, it's like antisocial personality conduct disorder. So when you're a kid, you have conduct disorder, then it spirals in like antisocial personality disorder.
Antisocial personality disorder is a mental health disorder characterized by a pervasive pattern of impulsivity, lack of empathy, aggression, and a failure to conform to social norms. The first trait of antisocial personality disorder seen in both these two characters is impulsivity. This is the tendency to act on impulse without thought of the consequences.
And then that little voice in my head, a little voice in my head that tells me to fucking do something bad, fucking comes in my head, and I fucking hurt 2 people, I had to go get surgery.
For the Joker, it's also seen many times. From his breaking into his neighbor's apartment, to his murder of his coworker who betrayed him, to essentially everything the Joker does. As he fully becomes the Joker, his behavior becomes more and more impulsive, with less and less thought of the consequences. The next trait of antisocial personality disorder is a refusal to conform to societal norms. And it's not just refusing to conform, it's typically doing so in a way that infringes on others. For Sean Strickland, it's seen in basically everything he does.
When I start my clothing company and I open up a couple sweatshops, how do I get to the meat and potatoes of work harder, no food for you till you finish?
This is a clear refusal to conform to societal expectations, where in these interviews you typically follow specific guidelines and behave a certain way. Then, in his press conferences, the expectation is to speak calmly and respond only to the questions asked. Sean Strickland always goes off the rails. If he doesn't, something is seriously wrong.
Oh man, I made the champion man with his frosted tips and his gay little watch.
From yelling his answers, to his unhinged rants, to verbally assaulting anyone and everyone nearby. This is a clear failure to conform to social norms. But ironically, it's part of why people love him so much. And it's the same with the Joker. For him, his failure to conform to social norms evolves as the movie progresses. It starts with his wearing clown makeup instead of looking like everyone else. And as the movie progresses, he drifts farther and farther away from societal norms, becoming more and more violent and heinous in his criminal behavior. Until finally, it climaxes during his talk show behavior, where instead of following a standard script, he becomes unhinged in his rant and then murders the host. The next trait people with antisocial personality disorder suffer from is a lack of empathy, which is understanding how others feel. Both Sean Strickland and the Joker do not understand how others feel, and thus cannot understand how their actions may affect other people. Sean Strickland is most known for going off on anyone and everyone as brutally as possible. This is why Sean Strickland truly seems at his happiest when he's viciously insulting as many people as he wants with no remorse.
I'll finish you. Your coach will finish you in the back like you're fucking used to. Don't worry about that.
He doesn't understand that his words are making people feel a certain way. He only feels the positive feeling of putting them down, without considering they're experiencing a negative feeling because of him. For all of Sean's insults, critiques, and scathing comments, he's never apologized or questioned how his words might be affecting people, even after breaking down in tears after Duplessis insulted him back. It never occurred to him that his words may cause people to feel the way Duplessis made him feel because he lacks empathy. With the Joker, a clear example of him having no empathy is during his imaginary relationship with his neighbor. Arthur falls in love with his neighbor, but doesn't realize she has zero interest in him. He enters her apartment without invitation, and despite the discomfort and fear evident in Sophie's reaction, Arthur fails to recognize or show empathy for her emotional distress. This also bleeds into the final trait they share, which is being egocentric. An egocentric person is self-centered. Everything is about them. Sean feels best about himself when it's all about him, even if it means putting other people down. And when other fighters start to take some of the shine, he will yell to make it about himself again.
I will fucking bury you.
What the fuck you are? What the fuck you are? Shut your mouth.
Hey, I'm here. Relax.
Hey, calm the fuck down. That's not the fight, dude. Leave the little man alone.
I'm okay.
Calm down, guys.
I'm okay.
I'm supposed to be the asshole here, Izzy. That's not your job.
He commandeers each and every press conference to be about him, without thinking how that might affect other people. In Arthur's world, every event also revolves around him. When he's doing stand-up, his routine bombs terribly. Despite no laughs at all and even a hostile crowd, he becomes frustrated and continues his performance anyway. His egocentric desire for attention and validation overrides social cues. This egocentrism only builds during the movie as he becomes more and more self-centered until he eventually ends up on Murray Franklin's TV show, driven solely by the desire for attention and validation. Egocentric individuals hold the belief that they occupy the central position in the universe. This conviction underlies their behaviors, which often prioritize personal pleasure and self-interest with little regard for how their actions affect others. So with all of that being said, why do we love the anti-hero? I believe it's because we see our own imperfections in them. We like rooting for people who have visible flaws as they wander through life. We like seeing them make mistakes as it makes them human. In this world of filters and fakes, an authentic and deeply flawed person is seen as much more relatable than a perfect person. But why did one of these anti-heroes become a full-blown villain while the other became a UFC world champion? The divergence in the paths taken by the Joker and Sean Strickland can be attributed to their approach to their inner shadows. The Joker succumbed to his shadow, fully embracing the identity by donning the mask, allowing negative impulses to dictate his actions and spiral his life out of control. On the contrary, Sean Strickland brought his shadow into the light. Acknowledging the darkness within, he channeled it productively through fighting. Despite harboring demons, he used 4-ounce gloves to give expression to this side of himself in a place where such darkness is not just accepted, but encouraged. He channeled his dark side into a productive force for good. Sean Strickland is as real as they come, and he doesn't shy away from the fact that he's not perfect. He embraces it and boldly proclaims his imperfections to the world. He is someone who has battled such hardships in life, he's proud of the person he's become through it, scars and all. In doing so, he has become a shining light for people dealing with trauma, and his journey shows that regardless of the hardship one faces in their life, success and happiness are still attainable.
Your home life, how you're living your life matters way more than any title, you guys. And I'm living better for you guys, through you guys. Thank you.